Titanium.
So today we got episode 7 of Unplugged. We got a special guest here today, kind of different from what we ordinarily do. Normally we have artists. We want to work on bringing in producers, but today we have one of my fellow DJs. We got DJ Be True. So tell us how old you are, how your DJ name came about, and kind of what you got going on as far as the DJ scene right now.
Sure. I'm 16 from Columbia, South Carolina. My DJ name, DJ Be True, came from like when I was younger. I really wanted to be a rapper, but then that kind of changed, So I just took that name basically.
Okay, and you're 16 now. When you first picked up a turntable, like when you first really started looking into it and getting into DJing, I guess transferring from wanting to be an artist to moving over to DJing, like how old were you then?
I was probably like 12 or 13.
12 or 13. And then was it like legit, like was it on the scale that you're on now, or did you start on like a smaller controller? Like how did it all come about? Because I'm imagining if you're like 12, 13, so you was like you probably went to your parents like, look, I want to DJ, and then I don't know about you, but when I looked at the price of everything, I was like, man, that's steep. So like, what was that like coming to your parents like, this is what I want to do, and how did they kind of take that in?
It was really like in the family also, so like. But really, when I got like my own like board, I started off on a smaller one. But like DJing, it always been like the family, so I was like right there next to it, basically.
Okay, so you got other DJs in the family.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So any notable DJs you want to mention from your family that DJ?
Ain't really like they used to DJ. Ain't really like they ain't really in the picture now. Like real big.
All right, and then as far as DJing, like what's your favorite? I guess, what's your favorite style of event to do? Because, like, there's a lot of different events. As a DJ, you learn that there's a lot of different events that you'll get booked for as far as, like, you'll have weddings, you'll have parties, you'll have day parties, you'll have just overall, like, events. Sometimes even if a store is opening, they might want to book a DJ for a store opening. So, it really just depends. So, like, what's your favorite type of event to do?
Mine's probably the parties and, like, the showcases, like, with different artists and stuff like that.
Gotcha, okay. Now, could you see yourself, like, working with any artist, like, just you and that artist, like, if they were to go on tour, would you want to do something like that?
Yeah, I would. I would do something like that.
Are you working with any artists right now specifically?
I mean, I work with, like, 32, Frosty, and I work with them, so I'll be doing stuff with them sometimes.
Gotcha, okay. So, as far as DJing goes, do you always make mixes? Do you make mixes like every week? Like, what is your practice like? Because I know for me, when I first started DJing, I learned everything I learned off of YouTube.
Yeah.
So like, it may have been different for you because you got some DJs in the family, but for me, I learned everything off of YouTube. So I was on YouTube every day. I was reading stuff every day. I was downloading new software, new music every day. Like, what is your process like when you like practicing? If you're at home and you don't have a gig, and it's just a slow day for you. It's just you and the turntable. What are you doing?
I make mixes too. Like I don't really like release a lot of them, but like I got like a lot of different mixes of myself. I just practice on my own, look up stuff, just stuff like that.
All right. Now, right now, I've seen you at a couple events. Of course, the main genre of music that we DJ is normally hip hop or R&B or whatever. Have you ever thought about branching out to any other genre of music as far as DJing?
I ain't really thought about it that much, but I definitely would do it one day,
Gotcha, okay. Alright, and tell us, a lot of people don't know, or even if there's someone out there that may be even younger than you that wants to be a DJ, like, I don't know about everywhere else, but at least in Columbia, I would say the DJing scene, like, is really kind of like a family knit type deal. Like, once you're in and you know a couple DJs, like, we all stay in contact, we bounce off of each other. If we need something, we hit up the next man or whatever. Like, tell everybody what that's like with you being so young. And even when you're around other DJs like me or someone like JB or someone else, even with us being older, tell us what it's like as far as like networking.
Yeah, the networking definitely stronger out here. Because it's like, I just like, even if I'm not DJing an event, I can just pull up, even if it's not my age group, basically I can just pull up, help out, stuff like that. It's definitely a lot of love in the DJ game for sure.
All right. Now, as far as music, because you did a mix for us, and everybody will definitely see that. But I noticed a lot of your music is kind of like, it's not old music, but it's kind of like older, like trap style music. Like, what's your favorite like era of like music? Are you a right now type of guy, or is that really your favorite style, like the older?
I mean,
trap?
like for me, like I like the new music too, but like I also like old music too. So like when I'm like doing parties and stuff, like if it's two DJs, like they basically gonna play the new music, so I'm gonna go to the old, like, you know, stuff like that, just to get it, you know.
All right. Now, with you being a DJ, you consume a lot of music. Of course, you got to download a lot of music. You got to learn a lot of music. And one main thing I kind of noticed is when I started DJing is my favorite artist. When I first started DJing, I wanted to play my favorite artist at every party. But when you start DJing, you notice that that's not what you're here for. But what is your favorite artist?
See, like, probably when I was growing up, my favorite artist probably like T.I., you know. Yeah. Now it's probably like, you know, I don't know, I like all type of music now, so I don't really got a favorite artist now, but like it was definitely like T.I. and Djing and stuff like that.
Alright, and did you ever feel like that, like when you first started DJing, was it, alright, I'm about to play my favorite artist music right now, or
yeah.
And then you
I just want to play that, yeah.
And then you kind of was like, hold on, that's not what the crowd really bumping with, or you could play a couple songs, but you can't just sit there and play the playlist that you ride in the car to every day. Alright, bet. So as far as DJing goes, in the long run, do you see yourself doing this in the long run? Do you want to be like a radio DJ? Like, what is your end goal with DJing?
Really, I want to branch off to like having my own artists under me, stuff like that. I just want to build like kind of like an empire, you know. I DJ on the radio for sure, but like if I do it, I want to take it to like the next level, like get more in the streets and like bring their music in.
So more like breaking artists.
Yeah.
Well, that's big because a lot of people nowadays, like coming up DJs, I feel like it's not as much required of a DJ now as it was back into like early 2000s, pre the internet and like going viral age. Because back then there was no internet, so a DJ going viral was either them going out passing out CDs and really distributing the music like that, because there wasn't that many. They had distribution companies, but it's nothing like now. Or they had to connect with a DJ. They were really getting that spend time in the clubs and the streets in different areas. So you definitely see the value of what a DJ is supposed to do, and that's big. Because right now I feel like we're really losing our value, but we got to stick together and kind of keep that energy going and keep pushing the artists, because we are the reason why their music's getting out. If nobody plays their music, then how do they get found? You know what I'm saying? But let's see. As far as parties, so you're 16. So what is it like when you going into these parties and it's like dudes like 22, 23, and you 16-year-old like DJing? Like, is it shocking? Like, what is it like?
I mean, I always been around like older people. I never really like hanged around people my age or nothing like that. It's like any party I ever really did, it was always like an older crowd.
Gotcha. Because a lot of people, like a lot of younger DJs or DJs in your situation, if they're 16, they more than likely they started DJing because they're DJing like parties for their age group. Like every weekend they're DJing like parties for their age group. But for you, it's a little bit different. Like you're tapping into a bunch of different age groups, a bunch of different people, and kind of getting the best of both worlds. You're really like picking up and learning. So that's good. Let's see. As far as like DJing goes and mixes, is there any DJ out there that you like really listen to that mixes and like, dang, that's inspirational, I want to try that, or I want to try this? Like, if there's any DJ, who would you name?
I listen to a lot of Sparks, the DJ mix. Like
Sparks? Yeah, Sparks is definitely real creative on the turntables. Really, I would say anybody out of that mix mob group.
Yeah, they definitely talented for sure.
Is definitely talented as far as DJing goes. Now, with you being 16, do you like being on the mic? Like when you first started DJing, because some people, I know even for me, and I started when I was 19, I didn't really want to pick up a mic when I first started.
I don't really like the mic like that. Like I ain't. Of course, I want to like branch off and like, you know, talk on the mic, but I ain't really like too big on that part.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you definitely. I'll say this: if you're gonna be DJing, you definitely got to break out of that. You definitely got to break out of the shell and not want to be on the mic, because it's gonna be that one event where either the host isn't gonna show up or they're not gonna have a host.
Yeah, you gotta.
And if you don't control that crowd, you're gonna lose them.
Yeah.
All right. So give me you DJing a party. It's Friday night. It's 12 o'clock. We just reached the height of the party. It's booming. It's packed wall to wall. What song are you playing?
Probably right now in 2021. You know, we're gonna play some Pooh Shiesty or something like that. You know.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of females there. You're gonna play something like Megan Thee Stallion or something. Just something like, you know, current hits, you know.
Alright. And now, as far as networking goes, getting back into the networking, who would you say, since you started DJing, really welcomed you in the most since you started?
It's been a lot of different people. Sparks, he helped a lot for sure. You know, JB helped, you know. You know, it's a lot of different ones, though, you know. It's a lot of people that welcome. You know, it's a lot of DJs out here, so it's like you're going to feel that love from a lot of different people.
All right, now there's a lot of DJs worldwide. There's Funkmaster Flex. Like, there's a lot of big name DJs that you know about, or you probably heard about from the past or whatever. Like, if there's any, like, major DJ like that you would say, like, you really look up to, like, who would it be?
Probably like Jazzy Jeff or something like that. Somebody like him, you know.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Now, do you prefer scratching when you're DJing or just straight through mixing?
Probably rather than mixing, you know, rather than scratching.
Gotcha. Okay. And where did you learn how to scratch? Because I feel like scratching is kind of going obsolete with the newer age DJs because you don't have the actual vinyls. You got the CDJs now.
It's kind of hard to scratch with that. So I basically just like taught myself because when I started out, I really couldn't scratch like that. So I had to teach myself a couple of things, you know, like with effects and mixing. I basically taught myself all that.
All right. Now, as far as events, what would you say was the hardest event you've done so far and why?
The hardest event. I threw a party. That was probably like one of the hardest. And it's not even just because, like, I ain't gonna say I wasn't prepared, but it was like my first party that I threw really. So it's like, you know, that's probably why.
Now, I definitely want to get into that too. Is because with you being 16 and you being a DJ, a lot of people think, okay, he's 16, he's a DJ, he's creative, whatever. But there's a lot that goes into this on the business side, on the back end, at the end of the night when you're getting paid, or if you want to throw a party and you got to look at all these expenses. Like, what would you say you really like learned since you started? Because I'll say it took me a good year to really learn everything after like people burning bridges, not paying, like just a lot of different stuff. Like, what would you say you've really learned so far?
Really, that you just gotta have like a team behind you, that somebody you can trust, you know. Like, you can't do it all by yourself, really, you know. Network and stuff like that. Make sure your party gonna reach what you want to reach it to.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, has there been anyone that's reached out to you in your age group since you started DJing and was like, I want to do that too? Like, where do I start?
Yeah, shout out to DJ Tay, because he definitely do that, you know. We got some events coming up, you know. He definitely reached out and, you know, he want to throw parties and stuff like that.
All right. Well, how old is he?
I think he just turned 14, I think.
All right. So that's definitely good. Now, that's one thing I did want to talk to you about is with you being a younger DJ, there's a lot of older DJs out there.
Yeah.
But have you ever heard of like coalition DJs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's coalition DJs. There's a lot of different DJ groups out there right now. With you guys being young, if you guys really teamed up, you guys would really be an empire of DJs. Like, y'all could bounce events off of each other or backup type of deal. So I think that would probably definitely be good. And if you get a group of y'all, definitely hit me up, send me some mixes, and I'll look at them, and give you guys feedback or whatever. But just let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And now moving on to the next part. Networking is key in the Carolinas, and that's one of the main things that this show is really about, is promoting networking. So I see you've been working with Frosty. I see the hoodie and everything. What has it been like working with Frosty? Because you're a DJ and she's a videographer, so sometimes people may think like that's a weird combination as far as networking and kind of match up. Like, so how has that been, like, working with them?
I mean, it been cool because, like, a lot of people don't know, like, she got her own team of artists. So, like, she really out here, like, helping people. And it ain't even just artists. Like, it's DJs, too. So, it's like, you know, she just makes sure everybody can win, really, you know.
All right. Now, what's one thing you could say that you've kind of, like, that you've learned from Frosty with doing that? Because she's doing a lot of great things as far as, you know, the videographer, doing the videos, her team of artists that she's got right now. Like, what's one thing that you've learned, like, yeah, I'm gonna take that and apply that to my business, or when I'm DJing, or something that you can apply it to, like, kind of different aspects of life other than just, you know, one thing.
Yeah. Basically, it's just like if you got a team of artists, because that's what I want one day, like my own team of artists. Basically, it's just like making sure they straight, you know, like getting them studio time, make sure they putting in that work, you know. It's basically stuff like that. She makes sure they get shows, and you know, she basically just behind the scenes making everything happen, really.
All right. Now, you run into a lot of local artists in Columbia with doing the different events that you do and the different type of events that you do. And a lot of DJs do. So with that much traffic and seeing that many artists right now, if you had to pick one artist out of all the local artists right now that are really buzzing, who would you say in your eyes is really, like, putting the most into it right now?
Man, it's a lot of them. Really, Bankroll Drew, he putting in that work for sure. You know, Don the Plug, like, you know, the younger people, they really like showing up out here, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the younger generation is definitely on the rise as far as DJing, as far as music, and it's definitely a good thing that we want to keep going, because it's okay for me and JB or whoever to be DJing, and we're still young, but you guys are the younger generation. Like, you guys are what's going to be here once we leave. And if we don't spread the knowledge and the stuff that we learn along the way to y'all, then we ain't doing that. We just setting y'all up for failure. But I definitely feel like the younger generation is on the rise, and got some big things coming. But do you ever plan on doing your own showcase one day, maybe?
Yeah, I'm actually teaming up with somebody right now. I ain't gonna really speak on too much about it, but definitely planning a lot of different, you know, events that's coming up.
Now, I got my favorite season, because I've been DJing for, I think, like 3 years now. So I got my favorite season to DJ. And I feel like the summertime is probably peak season for me. Like, that's when everything go crazy. Like, I might, maybe, like, in July, literally, I think 1 week in July, I was booked every day of a week, like Monday to Sunday. So do you have, like, a kind of like a peak season or your favorite season as far as DJing goes?
I ain't really got a favorite season. It's probably like around this time too, like getting closer to the summer.
Everything's starting to heat up, and
yeah, so everybody want to do more events and stuff like that.
All right. Now, what would you say is the biggest event you've done?
The biggest event I've done? It's probably one of the showcases or something like that. I did a shoe event before, so that was probably like one of the more branched off events, you know, and it ain't really like a crowd that's gonna be, you know, dancing. There ain't like no party or nothing. It's just like an event, you know.
All right. Any crazy experiences DJing? Like, what the craziest thing that you done seen happen in a party so far? Because I'm not gonna lie, I went to parties a lot before I started DJing, but now that I'm DJing and I'll look out in the crowd, I'll be like, whoa, what's going on over there? Like, and like a lot of people can say that, like my boy JoJo behind the camera, he does like recap videos and stuff for the parties, and like some of the stuff when you go back and look at the film, it's like,
it's crazy.
What is going on? So like, what's the craziest thing you probably seen in the party?
The craziest thing I probably didn't seen in the party is probably like one of the past events, you know. I think it was a girl, like her legs all the way in the air, just stuff like that. I mean, it ain't nothing that's shocking, but it's like, you know, it's just, you don't really expect that.
Now, do you feel like with you DJing, it's made you mature more? Because you got to, not only are you DJing, but you also got to handle the business on the back end when you're doing an event?
Yeah, it definitely, it helped you mature a lot, really, so like, you know. But I do a lot of different stuff, so it ain't just DJing. You know? I mean, you gonna mature over time, you know, especially when you want money, you know.
Yeah. Well, definitely, it was nice talking to you. One last thing I do want to ask you, if you could give any tip to anybody out there that's thinking about DJing, like thinking about starting DJing, like they might have been watching videos and they've been looking at it for a minute, but they're kind of shy, they scared to kind of really step out and do it. Like, if there's any piece of advice that you could give to them, what would it be?
Really just keep going and like network, cause like I ain't gonna lie, probably like over the last year is really when I started getting a lot of the events. But I mean, it's not that I couldn't do the events, it's just that like I wasn't networking the right way. So really just keep networking and keep going.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you coming through.